Welcome to HRP Clarity. Subscribe now and stay updated. Let's watch the video.
Just want to begin with a news alert. Guess what? Joe Biden is not the president anymore. So maybe we can move on. Maybe we can move into the present because it seems like we are living in the past. And listen, these are not the good old days, you know, like you used to sit around and your grandparents would talk to you about what used to happen. What we need to be talking about is how we are going to legislate, because I think that some of my colleagues have confused what our jobs are. And I get that we're sitting in judiciary. And so it may seem as if we are here to be litigators, but we are here to be legislators, which means that we are supposed to be writing laws, not trying to have our own trials and determine whether or not something is true or not, or whatever the case is, or who should be sued, who shouldn't be sued. All I know is that a great American hero, a good senator out of New Jersey, said something to the effect yesterday as he was shattering the record for holding the floor, a record that had been held by another racist in this country. As he shattered that, he said something about the fact that this should not be about left versus right. It should be about right versus wrong. And I am going to tell you that I want us to focus on right versus wrong. The reason that we are struggling right now in this country as it relates to people not trusting agencies, honestly, a lot of it is because of elected leaders. Let me tell you, one of the things that the chairman and I actually agree upon, we don't agree on a lot, is that we both know that there has been a sharp incline as it relates to threats upon our lives. Regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on, we both know and agree that as sitting members of Congress, we both are enduring more death threats than anybody should in this country. And I believe that it is because of the divisive rhetoric, and it is because of the selective enforcement of things. And so when we have, and I'm gonna be clear, because I had remarks and I'm going a whole other way. To have the sitting attorney general go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information, and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law. The reason that our party, or I won't even say our party, our country is torn apart is because we can't even agree on right versus wrong. This should not be left versus right. The only thing that we're asking
The Senate hearing room erupted with tension as Representative Jasmine Crockett delivered what many are calling one of the most explosive responses in recent congressional history. But what led to this fiery exchange, and what does it mean for the future of American politics? Crockett didn't hold back when addressing what she perceived as threats from the current administration's Department of Justice. Her opening salvo was direct and unapologetic, reminding everyone that the political landscape has fundamentally shifted. Do you think her approach was too aggressive, or exactly what Congress needed to hear right now? The heart of Crockett's argument centered on what she called selective enforcement and the politicization of the justice system. She specifically called out the Attorney General for allegedly threatening a sitting member of Congress, pointing to appearances on what she termed faux news as evidence of partisan weaponization. Her frustration was palpable as she described receiving what she characterized as threatening correspondence from the DOJ. What's particularly striking is her assertion that multiple congressional members have received similar letters, suggesting a pattern rather than an isolated incident. Is this the new normal for political discourse?
Perhaps the most controversial moment came when Crockett unleashed her criticism of Elon Musk, calling him a crook and questioning his federal contracts and law enforcement protections. She didn't mince words about her disapproval, stating she would say it 50,000 times if necessary. Her argument focused on what she sees as preferential treatment for the wealthy and powerful, suggesting that ordinary citizens don't receive the same level of federal protection or business opportunities. The timing of her comments, coinciding with what she described as worldwide peaceful protest on her birthday, adds another layer to this political drama. Do you agree with her assessment of inequality and how justice is applied?
The most powerful portion of Crockett's speech addressed the fundamental crisis facing American institutions. She emphasized that threats against congressional members have increased dramatically, regardless of party affiliation, and attributed this to divisive rhetoric from elected leaders. Her plea for focusing on right versus wrong rather than left versus right resonated throughout the chamber. But was it enough to bridge the glowing political divide? Her personal anecdote about her early career as a public defender, where she argued she should be hired specifically because she was Black, provided insight into her perspective on diversity in law enforcement and government service. What makes this moment particularly significant is Crockett's direct challenge to the current administration's approach to justice and law enforcement. She's essentially arguing that the DOJ has become a tool of political retribution rather than impartial law enforcement. Her concerns about diversity, equity, and inclusion being under attack add another dimension to the broader cultural and political battles currently raging in America. The question remains, will her passionate defense of constitutional rights and equal justice resonate beyond the hearing room, or will it be dismissed as partisan grandstanding? What do you think? Is Crockett a voice of reason in chaotic times, or is she contributing to the very divisiveness she claims to oppose?